Welcome to the Poke Report. I'm Lucas Messina alongside Tyler Sagerman. We have lots to cover for you tonight, including Cowgirl softball that went final just moments ago. Now it was the women's turn. The 8th ranked Cowgirls wasted no time putting the hurt on OU, where on court 3, seniors Katarina Adamovich and Victoria Lushkova made slight work of that maroon-colored team to give OSU the first point of the match with a 6-1 win. Afterward, on court 4, Vladika Babic was as cool as the other side of the pillow, putting in work and defeating Maylene Strip. The OSU men's golf team hit the course for the Maxwell Tournament at Oak Tree Country Club in Edmond last weekend. The Cowboys edged out New Mexico with a 2-over-par score to win the tournament for the 8th time in 9 years. The victory also marked the 4th of the season for the Pokes. Before all basketball news broke, Cowboy wrestling headed to St. Louis for the NCAA championships. Dean Heil was the lone national champion this year for Oklahoma State. This marks back-to-back national championships for Heil, but this one may have been just a little sweeter than the last. Corinne Simpson has more. The Pokes got it done against a hungry Sugar Bear team, winning 7-6 in front of a loud crowd at Cowgirls Stadium. We are now joined live with Matt McGann and the gang from Cowgirls Stadium. Matt, what a thrilling victory for the Cowgirls. Moving to the NFL, the Dallas Cowboys host the 2-time reigning NFC champion Seattle Seahawks in the second quarter. It's Wilson to Wilson as Russell finds Luke on a 22-yard touchdown to put the Seahawks up 10-3. With the Cowboys leading in the fourth quarter, Steven Hauschka hits a 24-yard field goal to put Seattle ahead. One last chance for the Cowboys. Matt Castle's fourth down heave falls incomplete, and the Cowboys lose their 5th straight.
And I'll get his opinion on what's happening with all things OSU basketball.
But it's not all basketball on this show. Football's back for spring, and we check up on Oklahoma State's all-time leading scorer Ben Grogan and what his plans are after kicking it in Stillwater for so long.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Chris Carson is a powerful running back that typically runs downhill, using his size to run through tacklers easily. He is not a guy that will break huge plays, his longest rush at OSU being only 26 yards. Carson has injury history that has limited his time, but had a solid senior season scoring 10 touchdowns and showed out at both the NFL Combine and OSU Pro Day. Carson received a 5.25 grade from NFL.com, which categorizes him as a developmental prospect. Teams that may show interest in Carson include the Minnesota Vikings. Without Adrian Peterson, the Vikings still lack a power running back that can pick up short yardage. The Buccaneers are also a running back needy team with the questions surrounding Doug Martin's future. Also look out for the Eagles and Colts, who could certainly use a back like Carson as well.
So how many Cowboys do you think have a legitimate shot at getting drafted this year?
Well, I think the 3 players that have the best chance are Vincent Taylor, the defensive tackle. Blake Jarwin could get drafted in the later rounds. And then Chris Carson's very interesting. He has all the intangibles to be an NFL running back. I think he could get picked up late in day 3 as well. Coming up on the Poke Report, we go live down to Cowgirl Stadium, where the Pokes just won in walk-off fashion. Also later in the show, we sit down with OSU basketball's new man with a plan, Mike Boynton, and a preview for the prospects of the NFL draft. All of that and more coming up on the Poke Report.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's a great day in Stillwater, Oklahoma. Are you ready for Cowboy football?
Every game day at Oklahoma State, a voice is heard.
Here comes Bullets.
But what some don't know is how the Cowboys almost lost their voice. Larry Reese is the public address announcer and associate athletic director at Oklahoma State University. He came to Stillwater as a student and has been at OSU ever since.
This is just a tremendous place. I mean, you talk about a place that feels comfortable, a place that immediately felt like my extended family. And then, you know, when you go through a scare like I've had in the last year, you really realize how strong your OSU family is.
For 4 months, Reese was ignoring what seemed to be a swollen lymph node on the left side of his neck. To get it checked out, he disguised a doctor's appointment as an annual physical.
You know, so he's giving me all kind of grief that my numbers look better than his. And I said, well, I appreciate that. Sounds like things are good. And I said, but what about this?
After revealing the lymph node to his doctor, as a precautionary measure, the doctors had the lymph node removed.
Finally, that Monday, he called me and we went in and he said, well, I was hoping it was an infection, but it's not. He said, you have cancer.
One word. That's all it takes for a life to change. But this type of cancer was worst case scenario for Reese.
He found that the cancer was in my throat. You know, throat cancer was always in the back of my mind, my biggest fear.
For 25 years, Reese had been a big part of OSU and needed the help of another OSU great.
That's Boone Pickens.
What was your reaction to Larry's diagnosis?
How can I help? I had access to the hospital. Larry had a problem, and so it was one telephone call, and, we go to work.
Reese was receiving treatment from one of the top cancer centers in America at MD Anderson in Houston, and on the first day, nerves were high.
Before my lead doctor came in, a nurse named Jancy from the Middle East, she's from India. She came in and she could just tell I was a little on edge, I think. I'm sure she has a sixth sense about that. And she grabbed my hand and she looked right in my eye and she goes, "You know you will be healed." And you talk about music to your ears when you hear that, because that was the first time I had been told I was gonna be okay.
On April 10th, Larry Reese rang the bell at MD Anderson declaring his victory over cancer treatments. And only months later, he was declared cancer-free. Reese attributes his victory over cancer to the many members of what he calls his prayer posse. But one OSU faithful coined a phrase that would rally the troops in orange.
A mailman here in town, an OSU mailman, Tim Bays, who I didn't really know, but I kind of put it out on Twitter that I had a cancer diagnosis. All Tim Bays did was, I hope I don't tear up here, he created a hashtag that just said, "I ride with the voice." And that became kind of the signature hashtag, whether it was Facebook or it was Twitter or it was shirts that were created by my OSU family.
The entire Oklahoma State family was there for him, and I think everybody had his back. So it was a positive outcome, and we're all happy for him.
Whether it's at Boone Pickens or here at Gallagher-Iba Arena, the Cowboys will once again be able to hear their voice.
The voice of the Cowboys, but role he plays with the athletic department, and everybody knows him. He's a big part of Oklahoma State and Oklahoma State athletics.
I think having cancer just made me, I've always appreciated life and felt very lucky and blessed to be at Oklahoma State, to have a beautiful wife and a beautiful daughter. And I don't think I've taken life for granted, but I've really honed in on enjoying life and everything about life. And so walk around will be special for me this year. And anytime I see somebody in a I Ride with a Voice shirt or one of the wristbands, I thank them, because it still to this day means a lot to me and my family, and will always mean a lot to us.
Going into the season as a number 4 running back, walk-on Raymond Taylor had a lot to prove to be where he is today. The Oklahoma State Cowboys currently sit at the number 6 spot in the college football playoff rankings and are one of the only undefeated teams left in the NCAA. The Cowboys have yet to find their true number 1 running back, but as the season goes on, the redshirt junior has been making his case to become the starter. Taylor grew up in Wichita, Kansas as the second oldest of 11 children. After graduating from Wichita Collegiate School, he only received one athletic offer.
To play basketball at Washburn, but as far as football or any other, no.
After passing up on a basketball offer from Washburn University in Topeka, Kansas, Taylor decided to go to school at Kansas State, playing no sports. However, this wasn't what Taylor wanted. While at Kansas State, he decided that he wanted to dedicate his time to playing football, but at a different school.
Oklahoma State was really the only one I ever considered. I liked the way orange and black looked together, and so it was just a good football program. That's the one I wanted to be a part of.
As a walk-on, Taylor was immediately an underdog, but during his second year as a Cowboy, he started to make a name for himself. Taylor came onto the scene at Boone Pickens Stadium against UTSA. Late in the game, he was handed the ball and burst through the line and into open field. 58 yards later, Taylor found himself in the end zone for the first time as a Cowboy.
Pistols firing! Touchdown, Oklahoma State!
My first touchdown, I was just looking back on it the other day. I'm glad it wasn't just already on the goal line, kind of just had a 1-yard touchdown. I had time to, I guess, appreciate it while it happened, but it was very exciting.
After that touchdown run, Taylor continued to see more playing time. Kansas State came to Stillwater and Taylor scored his second career touchdown against his former school. Then the Cowboys traveled to Lubbock to play Texas Tech. Taylor was only given the ball 5 times against the Red Raiders, but made the most of it, running for 58 yards and 2 touchdowns, including a 28-yard touchdown to give the Cowboys their first lead of the game in the fourth quarter. His successes came from avoiding one of his least favorite things.
I hate being tackled because, one, that means the play's over and that opportunity's gone. And two, I just feel like I don't want to give the other player that satisfaction of getting me to the ground. I just feel like they conquered the world anytime they tackle anybody on the field. And so I don't want to be the one to give them that gratification.
Taylor's quest for a larger role was granted as Taylor became the starting running back against TCU in what was, at the time, the biggest game of the season.
The coaches to look at me as a back that gives full effort every time he steps on the field. And the intention is to be productive when it counts while I'm here.
As the season rolls on, Taylor continues to be a pivotal part of the undefeated Cowboy offense. However, it's not only football season for Taylor.
It's rock band season because it's cold. So it's cold in the house, and when you get to playing, you don't get all sweaty and stuff, so you can play for a little bit longer.
Yes, Rock Band, the video game. Taylor and his roommates and fellow Cowboy football players Trace Clark and Corey Bennett are hardcore video gamers and are very proud of their band.
Caramel Mocha Express. Me, Trace, Clark, and Corey Bennett. And then Brendan Fagan, but he's taking his solo trip right now. We haven't seen him in a while, yeah.
Unfortunately, CMX has been running into issues starting with their recent equipment problems.
We have a broken guitar. Like, we have to strum up only, and that's like...
You can only strum up?
You can only strum up, and that's not exactly, you can't, no. You can't be successful like that. Absolutely not.
Rock Band is not the only game they play. Mario Kart is also a huge part of Taylor's life outside of football. Although he is humble when it comes to football, it is a different story when it comes to Mario Kart.
The Mario Kart is very serious in the house. We have the whole tally. We have the championship belt.
Oh, there's a bullet!
There you go, 11.
No!
Taylor looks to carry that Mario Kart competitiveness over to football as the Cowboys close in on the end of their season. Taylor now has 41 carries, 262 yards, and 4 touchdowns this season, but is still looking for more.
Definitely want more, and can't be satisfied with that. I don't really know what that translates to, but I feel like, if you ever get satisfied with anything, then you're going to stop getting better.
For the Poke Report, I'm Lucas Messina.